Yes.
All right, so we are live, right?
We're live and in effect.
I believe so. We're ready to go. I'm just going to take a quick picture really quick.
Be my guest.
As you should. As you should.
Like,
Take a
okay.
selfie.
I know. My phone is over there, so I can't selfie.
I turn this on, and then I'm ready to go, and then I'm like, ew, what happened to my
In the
hair?
zone. You
Done
gotta
that
take a
before,
peek.
for sure,
You
for
gotta
sure.
take a peek and make sure you don't look.
Sometimes I've tried to
ready?
record.
Ratchet.
Let's go.
Okay, hold on.
Oh,
I'll
that's
get
y'all.
you a second.
All right, y'all good.
Good? You ready, Joe? See how that counts down? That's the end.
I didn't see anything.
Oh my goodness.
I can't see that far. You drew.
So I meant to tell you, you have a fan.
Ooh.
Yes, there's this guy that I know,
Uh-oh.
and he.
Wait, let me press stop.
This is rated G. It's actually a good fan.
Okay.
It's a really good fan. He's like a graphic designer, and I think he does photography and some other stuff, branding and stuff. And he hit me up like a couple weeks ago, a week or two ago. His name is Ralph. He said he's never met you.
Ralph.
But he's like, I am such a fan of Leah Flores' work. Like, can you please introduce me to her? I want to meet her. Next time you go do the podcast, can I come? Like, he's like, I love Leah. I love her work. I want to meet her.
Oh, that's so
Shout
cute.
out to Ralph.
Right.
Ralph
Yeah.
McCoy. Hi, Ralph.
Aw.
I'm going to intro you, see?
You guys, we have not done this podcast in
It's
a
been
couple
like,
of weeks.
I was saying like 4
forgot the
weeks,
intro.
I feel like.
In a minute.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Aren't you a money man?
I'm about to get into it. Look at Joe. Look at
He
Joe.
knows the intro and everything. Look at you.
Hey, this is how I roll.
That is better than some that have been on here that don't
He
know.
said, you forgot the intro.
Stop
No, I
talking
didn't,
about
Joe.
Ralph eating in my time. Sorry, Ralph. No shade.
No shade.
but-
Excuse
I
us.
was
We are on
gonna
the time
say-
crunch.
Time,
Sorry.
Ralph.
I was gonna say
Oh my god.
that it's been a minute
I love
since
it.
we have been on, and I have
Yes.
missed doing this. Like,
Yes,
it was
me
like
too.
almost.
Yes.
I had this like longing. I told Whitney a few times, like, oh, I just want to get on the podcast right now and talk. Like, I just want to talk about some of these things. You know, just things that we go through, things
Yes.
that happen in life, and then I just wanted to talk about them.
Yes.
So we're here. I'm excited. My name is Leah.
Okay, there it goes. See? Wait,
And
no
I
more.
am your host, and I am an action taking, money making. I am a mother photographer.
Yes, ma'am.
I am so much more. I am
Yes.
that I am.
Yes.
And I am a manifesting queen.
Yes, ma'am.
Baby.
Yeah.
ma'am.
I like to switch it up sometimes. See, you never know what I'm going to say.
I wasn't ready.
This is my co-host.
What? WHITNEY period poos. What? Hi.
Welcome back.
Yay. And I'm Sammy Black.
Yes.
With a Q.
She's real important.
Because I'm fancy like
Yes.
that. I'm important
Yeah.
like that.
You are important.
And we have our special guest.
My name's Joey Sparks. That's 2 E's, no Y. You heard me. That's 2 E's.
What? No, why?
Two
Joey.
E's, no Y.
Okay.
Joey. Yes, that's how you do it.
There you go. See? You say it like an Italian every time, don't you?
So who is Joey?
Right.
That's what we're
Explain.
going to kind of talk about for the first segment of our podcast. Is just
Let's
kind
go.
of who Joey is and why are you on our podcast?
Yes.
You know, why are you important?
I want to know.
You tell me.
Inquiring minds would like to know.
Yes.
Joe, how did we?
Open
Joey, how did we meet?
Dana Key.
Oh, God.
Oh, here we go.
Dana Key.
Yes, I did. You know, that was retarded. I should have just shut up.
You should've
Shout
known
out to
that.
Dana. Shout out to Dana Q.
Yeah, no. While Dana was working with you, he needed some editing help, and so he reached out to me, and he would hand me off some files and say, "Hey, man, if you can make a couple little video edits, bare bones for me,
Yep,
you know,
right.
and then the outlines, and then drop them off to me. I'll give you a little something on the side." And so, of course, I'll jump all over that. and then one day he hit me up and he was like, "Hey, man, do you want more?" And so I said, at the time, I was like, let's try it. Let's do something. Let's step out of this comfort zone, try something new. So,
Yeah.
If y'all hear that clanking and banging in the background, it is super
is
windy
the wind.
today.
Crazy.
and it is
So-
in the market
I'm like
right now.
literally.
We're not
can see
just
the-
ignoring it. We're like paying attention to it too.
I was gonna look over at first. I was like, "Who's moving their mic?" No, it's the wind. It's the
No,
wind.
understood, yeah.
So, Joey, what is your background in film editing? Like, why did he even hit you up?
I mean, we met, oh, God, what's it been? 5, 6 years? Probably going on 6 years now ago or something like that. he was one of the first creatives behind the lens that I met on a project, and was like real cool, real respectful. He sent me some nice images at the end.
Can I tell you a story that he told me about you?
Oh my god.
Yeah, be my guest.
Hey,
You silly.
so he said that when he got around you, like one of the first times that he kind of got around you and you guys had like this sit down meeting, and he was like, and I had to learn Joe, like I had to learn how he moved and like how he talked. He said because he's a personality. He said, and so like we were talking back and forth, and he was like, he kind of just shut me up. It's like, look, I need you to listen. He was like, and I thought he was playing, but he was for real.
No, one time he was like, hey man, what's up with you? And I was like, oh, I'm so excited to share what's going on with me on
and
this
then he cut you
project.
off or something?
And about halfway through, I realized he wasn't listening. And then he said, yo man, this is what's up with me. And I said, hey man, if we going...
Oh, I like that. Call Dana out on his selfish ass shit. Yes.
Because I respect Dana,
Okay.
that's why I would say something. If I don't respect you, I
Right.
just don't say nothing. I don't hang out with you no more. But
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
your twin.
I
Y'all be just
get
We'd be like, bye. No, you know what? It's crazy because I don't know if he experiences ADHD like me, and I don't mean to. Like for me personally, I really don't mean to. Like I will go off. Like people will talk to me, and I'm like, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that, checklist. You know what I mean? And I'm like, it's rude. It's rude, but I
not in
don't
control
mean
of
to
it.
do it. Like I am
Right.
like I have to like really literally like no focus on the conversation, Leah. Like try to one of the things that I learned from Dana was he says always be curious, try to listen, like always try to listen. And so it's one thing that I've like really tried hard to do when we're talking, even in the podcast.
Yeah.
I've noticed times when I've cut off Whitney, and she's good. She just keep talking. She'll be like da da da, like shut up, Leah, da da da. And I'm like, okay, no, that's good.
One of my favorite podcasts, when someone interrupts them, they go, oops, because I was speaking, right? Oops. Oops, right? You're sorry because I was mid-sentence,
Yeah.
right? So next time she do that to
She said
you,
you're sorry, right?
just hit her with the
I'll be like,
oops, because we waited for
My
my,
face will probably be like
sentence
this,
to
look like-
finish.
did she just say that?
Oh, hilarious.
Oh
But no,
my
yeah, I think listening is important because
Yes.
you never know when there can be a gem in something.
Yes.
And it sometimes might not even be the gem that someone's intending. You know, like I could be telling you something, and then it's like something midway through my story that you go, I could add that to my life. It has nothing to do with his punchline or
we
or
call
his
those
point.
nuggets.
Yep.
Boom.
Yes. We call those
nuggets.
chicken nuggets.
And you know
A
the
little chicken nugget.
proverb says that a wise man is slow to speak and very
to
quick to listen.
Yes.
So
Yes.
It's a really good one to try to because I try to practice that often.
Well,
I'm like, Leah, shut up,
makes
shut up,
perfect.
because I'm like sometimes.
We're all work in progress.
Yes,
We gotta
that's
practice,
correct.
right?
No, yes.
Facts.
I got a group of friends. We call ourselves half baked because
Heard.
we know we're not quite done. We're still kind of mushy in the
Yes.
middle.
Right,
We're
still-
not done. We're in
love
progress.
that.
Ring
I
went
like
off
that.
yet.
I love
Yeah.
that.
I heard that.
Are we ever fully cooked? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
are we ever
No.
like fully there? Like,
No.
it's never.
Yeah.
I feel like it's always work and stuff. So.
Always a work in progress.
So you're doing video for us now, and this was really important to for me to get you in front of the camera so that these women can see who you are and feel comfortable again.
Yes, yes.
Because it was quite the challenge to bring Dana in here and
As a man.
because women choose to have me photograph them. A lot of the times they'll say, well, number one is because you're a woman, and that's like one of the first leading things. And then they'll say, oh, well, then this and this and that. But it was super important because a lot of these women come from trauma, sexual abuse, rape, family, trauma and abuse. And so it's a very fine line for me to be like, okay, here's what we're going to do. And we do, we've come up with something to kind of introduce it beforehand in scripts and whatnot to say, hey, this is kind of what this would look like. What was your first take of shooting with us? Like, what was that like for you? Because you do, tell us about what you do.
I mean, I shoot video. I shoot, edit video front to back. So I guess I would say I produce video. And I started off in music videos, don't we all? And then I nailed like a real estate guy. Plus then I was taking on editing gigs from other videographers like this. And so now, like, when I had this opportunity to like work with a photographer, because I know nothing about the photography end, but I understand caption
And vice versa.
image.
Like he
Yeah.
was schooling me on my setup right now because
Yeah.
this is the first time I set this up.
Yo, Lee's killing
Yes,
it,
yes,
yo.
yes.
You got the setup
Why
on
did you?
point.
You know, Dana's gonna. now that you said that,
Oh, like if there's a mess up or something, I'm sure he will. He's a
He'll
hater.
point it out.
we don't
Hater.
care. You're a hater. We already don't care in advance. So.
And so and then I got a chance to see how what I loved was watching you pose women, because that's something I didn't know how to do. I guess I would know how to communicate to women to not make her feel like uncomfortable.
What was his word?
What was your word?
I don't know.
Poke. Was it poke it?
Poke.
Was it poke it?
Poke, can you poke that? Poke it out a little bit.
Oh.
What did I say? Poke
Poke. I was poke, right? I'm
But
pretty
we
sure.
had already established
No,
our
that's
rapport,
right, I know.
and I knew
That's
that was
not
working.
Say
I worked, before I got into film and video production, I worked with the public quite extensively. So, so I
Poke it
get
out.
Well, and we talked about that, just kind of, understanding your audience.
Yes.
Because there are women also, okay, so on the other side of the spectrum that are 100% comfortable with a man being in there. They don't
Yes.
see the difference. They're like, this is completely
Or
professional.
some women say they actually feed off of it. Like they,
I
it
got
helps
some of
them.
that. I got some of
Yeah.
that vibes where they're like I don't know if they're trying to like show they want to be their best.
Yeah.
They're on show
yes.
for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a
Yes.
good way to look at it.
But
Yeah.
then I go, okay, and then I don't take that lightly.
Yep.
I cater to that,
Right.
and so like word tracks like, oh, beautiful, nice, hold that, perfect.
Yeah.
Once you guys both get that engagement and that relaxation, you can see it on the girls.
I can
You
see it in the footage when
Yep.
it plays back.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can see
I always
when
say they kind of
relax.
start like this, and
Yep.
they're just like, oh, what do I do? And then it's like this, and then they're like, huh.
Yes.
And then they're like, okay, what's
Right.
next? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
so
So I love all
it.
that.
Yeah. I
beautiful
love it.
transition.
Well, I'm curious, like, how was that for you maintaining that professionalism around these
That's a
women
good
when
question.
they're so revealed and they're in such a
Yes,
vulnerable
good
state?
question.
Good
Go
question.
ahead, girl.
It's an amazing question. So glad you asked. To me, it's like I've been married for a while, so like I just
Shut up.
I don't give off that vibe like I'm trying to look you up and down. I almost feel like, oh, sorry, my bad. Nope, take your time. Nope, cover that up. Okay,
Right.
now we ready to go
Right.
again.
Right.
Or if they're, like you said, some of them are super comfortable with that, then let's just shoot. But it's about the work for me.
Right.
It's like the movement, the framing, the angles. Are you going to look at me at the right spot? And now you're pointing out like chin up, chin up, chin up, chin up. Am I shooting with chin up? Those are the things that the artsy fartsy in me like gets excited about, and I think they know that right away. Like they go, "Oh,
Yes.
They
not
can
a-
feel the
not
professional.
a
You take your-
sleazeball,
you're right,
You know
yes.
what I mean?
You take
he
the
not
way
out here
you do
trying
things.
I'm here to shoot.
Yes.
It's the art.
It's literally that's what
Yes.
it is.
I try to explain that a little bit to my husband because there was at one point he was, I don't want to say uncomfortable, but he was like, okay, well, you're upstairs with the man. These women are getting undressed. I mean, isn't there some chemistry? And I'm like, no, like that's
not
not
like
what
that.
it's like. I said
It
it's
literally turns
a
off.
job. Now, mind you, it's I when I say a job, it's like bleh, vomit in the mouth because I'm like, I love what I do.
Right.
It's not even it is a job, but it's not a job for me. But it doesn't have that element built into it. It's really allowing, and I always say this, it's a safe space, non-judgmental, knowing that it doesn't make a difference what you look like, what size you are, what age you are, that you are going to feel comfortable. And that is why that portion is very important.
So important.
That they carry that same energy as me up there,
Yeah.
and so there's some people that we kind of tried out and that we we're looking into, and some individuals that their energy is just really tight and kind of like it's like no, you got to
it's
relax
hard.
too.
Yes,
to help them
100%.
relax.
I mean,
you have to.
You're gonna be nervous because you're shooting and you don't want to mess up that
Right.
portion. Like I got to get back with good
Yep.
footage, but at the same time, I don't want. like if I don't know how to interact with personality types, then
Yes.
I'll say that, you know, like fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
and when I say that with respect in the sense that I feel like when Dana came on, like he hadn't shot in that element. Yes, he
No.
was doing videography.
You wouldn't have been able to tell though.
but you
wouldn't have-
couldn't tell.
I couldn't tell. That's
he
remember I
walked in there
asked
with
you.
like, I've been doing this 100 times and I'm
Right.
good to go.
I
you know?
asked you. I was like, "Have y'all shot together?" And you were like, "No, I think this is the first time we've done it together." And I'm like, "What?" Wow. So he's just comfortable coming in, being around these women like that, and it was just the rapport that he had even before you came upstairs. They're sitting in my chair getting hair and makeup done, and he comes and engages with the client, which you did right away.
yeah, I mean,
So-
I had to. You sitting in there, and that you.
You don't want it to be awkward because some videographers and some photographers are really mean. Like as a makeup artist, I've worked with some that they don't even engage with us. Like you're in to
Yeah.
do a job and you
Yeah.
are to leave. You're not to communicate with the photographer or the videographer.
Well, I think it's really important to highlight that as a man, you can interact with a woman in that space, but
Yes.
still be completely professional.
Yes.
I think that there's this stereotype that men can't control themselves or that they're,
Facts.
you know what I mean? Like that there's always going to be a crossing of the boundaries.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
an ulterior motive
Yes.
behind
Yes.
why they chose to
You know-
be a photographer. Or
Especially in this kind of, setting or medium.
Well, because photography, and maybe I don't know if you feel the same way about video, but the photographer is male dominated.
Yes.
Photography world is male dominated. Now, women have really put their, kind of touch in it.
Yeah.
But I've always said that on the boudoir photography side, like what a difficult position for these men to be in, even if they're the most professional,
Right.
because women will just check off like, nope, that's because he's a man.
All I
It's-
got to do is see the picture, and if the picture comes up creepy, I'm not
I've
doing
seen-
it.
I've seen-
Or you have a creepy picture of yourself, which we've heard has been oh, nope, I'm not shooting with that
Yeah,
person. They could have the most amazing work,
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
but
Yeah, no, I unfortunately that stereotype's there. I mean, I've heard the horror stories with the gals and stuff, and to
Yes.
me, I go, is that something? Is that something like a youthful dude or something? Because I didn't get into imaging until I was like, well, I mean, I've loved cinema since a youth, but like I didn't get into doing it myself until later, and I was already kind of, I was shacked up. So
Yeah.
like to me, I'm
and
not-
you
I'm
are
not
how
for
much older than your wife?
8 years?
8 years.
Oh, yeah, 8 years. Yeah.
Shout out to Tasca. We love you, Tasca.
Yeah, Whitney was
wifey.
kind of giving me like a little bit of like just from when she met Tasca and I mean I was like that because you feel like an old soul to me.
I'm an old person.
Not literally,
soul matches
not like but no you. You're
dead
what
ass.
2 years older
Dead
than me,
ass.
so like
I mean, it's
Oh,
enough.
shots fired. Take that back.
That's you lucky because I almost dropped my age. Like, right there, now people be doing the number, carry the one. I just come from a time where I was like brought up, but I've always worked in customer service. So I've worked with all demographics. So I learned to communicate with people younger than me, people older than me, and that's changed as I've got older. But I know the things that like when Dana goes, I had to learn Joe.
Yeah.
He had to learn like the claw. Dana's cut from it too, but like he had to learn the way I express it. Does that make sense? And I come from this old school respect.
yes,
You don't, you don't move a certain
I
way.
like.
Yes.
But I mean, I think it's more than just customer service and that level of professional, because you're talking about like fidelity. You're talking about your wife and being like
Right.
faithful and focused.
Oh,
like,
that
you know what I mean?
that
Yes.
aspect of it. I had plenty of time when I was younger, but that's why I said like when I saw Tasca, I said
that's it.
I can't get no better. Like that's my
I haven't met you,
I'm
Tasca,
not
but
trying
shout out to you.
Yo, I'm not trying to be mushy, but in my mind, I was like, over the course of my time, that's it.
Either that or she'll kill you.
And so, well, I mean, she
like
she
her
has
already.
a way about she has a
like
way
her.
she has a way with knives.
On that subject, like how did this subject come up when you decided to start? Like, okay, this is what I'm going to try this. Did like, hey, I need to have a conversation with my wife and like make sure she's comfortable with this.
Yes.
Well, I remember when I first started imaging, trying to tell her like, hey, I know the virality of women on all social media platforms.
Yeah.
You put a girl on it, that many more likes, that many more views, that many more shares, that many. And so in my mind, I look at it as a piggybacking off. And I saw this photographer out of Denver. I don't know if you'll ever see this. Koss Photography, COSS. And he was doing these super dark boudoir shots,
Yeah.
but like literally only highlights, and then the highlights off the angles of the
that.
ladies,
My
right?
favorite.
Like so completely dark in the bedroom,
Yeah.
and like lots of shadows, and then just that outline
Lines.
here,
Yes.
outline here.
Lines.
Oh
Yeah.
my god!
We talked about doing a project like
Yeah.
that coming up.
Yeah.
I showed my wife that just to kind of like ease her into like, hey man, I'm not in it for like you see
Right.
this isn't he
This
wants
is
to look at her
art.
butt.
Yes,
he
yes,
wants to look
this is
like no,
beautiful.
these are the things I look at.
It's deeper than that.
And so then when we got here, well, I already had a breaker in when like I was doing Dana's edit.
I was gonna say, because
Right.
how did that smooth over your editing?
Well, at that time, I just had to wait till the night. Like, well, I mean, I would tell her, but I
Kids are
got
just-
two young
yes,
boys
Right.
too that I don't need to be.
Now,
showing
I
them.
want to be very clear. We're not shooting porn here, okay, guys?
No.
Like,
Come
but-
set up your OnlyFans
But the
at Leah Flores
suggested-
Photography.
No, but it is, you know,
It's
we
very
allow
intimate.
women to kind of pick and choose their comfort
Yes.
levels. And some women want to do, and when I do a nude, it's always going to be a tasteful nude. Always. Like, you know,
Right.
I don't really try to go completely.
She does- she's not
because
raunchy.
that's
Your aesthetic.
Yes, that's my aesthetic. That's my brand. That's the way that I want to display
Yes.
it. So anything that I put out now, if a woman asked me for her husband specifically, like, hey, can you get a little bit? It would probably be something that I would do, but I wouldn't necessarily post it.
Shout out Shannon.
Right, that's
Okay.
not.
So she
don't
just
want it
called
to
you
give
out,
off
girl.
the wrong idea.
I was trying to keep it quiet, but
But she is comfortable in her own right.
and she is 100% comfortable, and that was for her and her husband. It's not
Yes.
something that I would be like, I'm just going to display this because I can. No, and she gave me full permission to.
Right.
But it's just not my aesthetic for my brand. Now, saying that to say, with video, the same thing needs to come across that way. And you know, we had pre-conversation, Dana and I had pre-conversation, that like everything is elegant, classy.
Yes.
It's very, but they are still very... They're showcasing.
Yes.
So
Vulnerable,
having
right?
little kids around, it's going to be like, hey, you can...
Yeah.
I'm very protective of what suggestions go out to my boys. Now my oldest is like he's old enough now to where like I got to kind of tell him these are the things that are going to happen, but these are the mindset I want you to. I want you to
Yes.
think about this
Yeah.
with like you're going to start listening to music, and I'm going to be bobbing my head to it too. But I got to tell you the way they look at you know relationships. Most definitely is the wrong way to think about love. Like you don't
Right.
don't think about love the way it sounds like.
I love that.
They got that in there. It's very. I
Yeah.
fell victim.
I think we all
yeah.
could say we
Yeah.
had at
Oh,
some
yeah,
programs.
yeah,
a little bit by it.
Facts.
I remember
How old
getting
are you?
grounded when I bought that 504 Boys album. I had no business listening to that at my
504.
age. Like, that's
Nobody.
inappropriate. Why am
Very
I
much.
listening to that at that age?
Oh, I mean, there was songs that came on, and then, you know, the
I just
You're
to
gonna
me,
do what?
I was in
Shore was
seventh
my
grade.
dude. Like, I was like, yeah, cocktails. You know, I wanted to remake that one. I wanted to remake that with client names in it. That's something that you could work on. But I wanted to do a funny version of it. You know, like, you know, I met this chick named Tina.
Wow.
We're doing
That
it.
reminds me of my sister, Ollie. She listens to that song.
And
too.
of course, it would, you know, just be funny. But
Yeah.
I love that you're talking to your
Yes.
kids about that
How
stuff.
old are your boys?
When I met my wife, our oldest was turning 3.
Yeah.
About that time.
He was a baby.
So right now he just turned 14.
I know, right? Is he at Russell?
Right now,
Yeah.
yes, and
Yeah.
then he'll be over there. I think it's Doherty. You
Doherty.
know, I'm not from.
No, you're good.
Right, right.
That's the schools me and it's just crazy. That's the school
Right.
me and Tasca went to, like middle
Yeah.
school and high
It-
school.
it
so
is-
it's
man,
weird to like picture him how little, because the last time I seen him face to face, he was little.
Yeah, he's like he's a grown man
big
now.
now.
He's a grown man.
And so you like know her.
Yes.
Y'all go back.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yes. Like
Cool.
4 flats. Yes.
Hey.
Well,
Yeah.
when Dana kind of brought Joe up, and she was like, "Yeah, Tasca, like I know Tasca,
Yeah.
like you know," and so that was a nice because it was very also, and that's why I kind of wanted to meet your wife at some point, you know,
Oh,
because
for
it's
sure.
super
Yes. important
for me that women feel comfortable as well, because
Yes.
they can perceive something or well, okay, well, what about this? What about that? I'm like, I've been married 20, I've been married 20 years, been together with my husband 23 years,
Oh wow. Okay, let's
and
go.
people will come into the situation. It was actually one conversation that eventually we'll talk about. It's not for this one, but just the dynamic of a man and a woman working together.
Yeah.
And how sometimes that's perceived in a way that if I go and I work at, which I did at AT&T, and there's 5 dudes there, no big deal.
Right.
But if I work here from home and I bring a man into this workspace, it's a problem. But why?
Or it ruffles, or it makes people just feel uncomfortable, like something must be going on.
Right. And it's like if I was in any other workplace,
Right. It would be no issue.
But the truth is, between, I don't want to say just men and women, but between people, there's a creative energy that like can be generated, and we can feel that, especially if we're creating something together. And I think some people can get that confused.
Ooh, I love that you say that. Like some people
Right.
feel it and walk in and are like, well, and our clients used to say it all the time with Dana. They're like, your all's vibe is infectious. And we would be like, what do you mean? Just being silly. But no, you could feel it in the room.
Well, and I think you can feel like it's like, but it's a movement of like creativity. It's exactly what you say.
Yes.
It's like you're
is.
creating things together, and
Yes.
that power is powerful.
It's true. And I think some people can, and I'll even be honest, maybe it is kind of like a sexual charge, but that doesn't mean it has to be expressed in that way.
Correct.
You can take that creative energy, the same energy that creates life, and you can create art. You can
Yes.
create a book.
Yes.
You can create something else.
Yo, I love
Channel
what
it.
you just said about it is tricky, specifically with this, because when we try to tell them, yo, this is just art,
Right.
but your art judges whether this is a sexy photo, a tastefully sexy photo.
Right.
So you, in your mind, went, that's somewhat sexy,
Yes.
but like, I don't want it sexy. Like
Right.
it
Yeah.
looks, and
I
I
don't
know
wanna come off
people,
inappropriate.
and I know
Yep.
what that looks like.
But that doesn't mean I'm gonna.
But it's
Right.
so. But I so that's why I understand when people get a little confused, specifically when it's like that. It's like, yeah, if you're shooting, a movie scene where 2 people shoot each other, that's one thing.
Yes.
Does that look like someone shot each other? But if you're trying to look at a girl who's enticing someone through that photo, did she entice you? Is that why you picked this?
Right.
Is that why you picked
That
this?
talks about those borderlines that we were
Again,
talking
those
about.
lines.
Again, those
But
fine lines.
I think if I was a female and I was looking for someone to do something like that, I would look to find a female photographer first and foremost, because then I can eliminate any of that chance,
Yes.
that perceived social chance of a
Yeah.
man can't contain himself.
Right.
Oh,
So what
yeah.
did she say after you like?
Oh, I told her. She did express later. She goes, well, we didn't really talk about it. And then I noticed what that was. I was like, she thinks that she doesn't think she's the best to me, or like,
Oh my God! I know you're not trying to be mushy, but we're all like, oh.
not like that.
The
But
fact
like,
that you
No, 'cause
thought
you're
about
capturing
that
these women.
piece, the fact that you even put into men.
Here she goes. She's
Let
getting
me
ready
just
to
say
go.
something, okay? This, because here's the thing.
Yes.
I heard a conversation just the other day with a woman, and she was talking about her past relationship, and she just said, I just wanted him to hear this little piece, and he just didn't grasp it. He just didn't hear it. And we women sometimes very much say things
We
without
speak in code.
saying things.
Yes.
Right.
And he caught it and
Just so I
said,
can make sure you're paying attention.
I heard what she was saying.
Yes.
Was this.
Yes.
And
I love that.
We always say, like, look, we have an inner child in us, number one. Mine is named Lulu. And she's 12 years old, and I identify her as Lulu because she act up sometimes, and I'm like, you know what, Lulu, calm down.
Yeah.
And I have tamed Lulu throughout the course of my life, that like, hey, that's Lulu. She's coming up to
upset.
she gets jealous, she gets envy, she gets,
Right.
and so for me it's just easier to say, Lulu,
Chill out.
chill out, Leah, compose yourself, like. But those, we have these things, and half of the time when we're upset, angry, we're arguing, it's because we're saying we're not saying what we want to say.
Right.
It's really back to us.
Oh yeah, true. I've been in situations before where I'm like snapping, I'm going off, no, and then he goes,
No, we just.
okay.
We just watched the video, and I said, the dude's like this with his nails, and I said, Whitney, what does that mean? She said, that's the nail click.
It's the universal nail click. It's the language.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going off.
It's my
And
period.
he'll be like, "Oh, so you miss me?" That's what I hear. I hear you saying that you miss me.
Ew, and I hate that even more because I'm
Your
like, shut up,
husband said
stupid.
that?
I don't
Your
miss
husband
you.
said that?
But it's also like, Yeah, I do.
Nope. That's where that's where I go,
'cause you're
shut
like-
up, dummy.
That's your inner child.
Don't nobody like you.
You don't know me.
Get away from me.
She's still taming that one.
Right?
I love that. I love that you took it back and said, okay, this is what.
My main concern was like, yo, this is a legitimacy opportunity for my business. I said, you know, for me, it's just money. And then when like I saw it, she wasn't totally comfortable. It clicked for me. Oh, and very understandably, you're going to be around other women
Yes.
like this. You're gonna inevitably judge and compare. And so like I had to figure out the words to express to her once again. My
Yes.
mind don't think like that when it gets there. But then that's when I had that thought about it's hard for them because
Yes.
they're going, but you're making a sexy clip of a girl,
Yes.
right? Like, yeah, you're
This
not
is
wrong.
how it looks in your eyes. So I'm taking this in, and I need to make sure that you understand. This is the back end of it for me.
But then I showed her, I was like, this is more than when I was
Yes.
doing with Dana. So it's like a lot of work. So it feels like work.
Right. This is like
Now that I'm doing the third video with the audio and I'm trying to make it all out, I said, it's a lot of work. I don't even think about like, let me shoot it and then let me figure out how to get it, cut up and back to them.
Well,
as
when
fast
we
as possible.
photographed Whitney,
Oh my gosh.
and I
yes.
asked her,
Right.
I asked her because she had has a relationship past, whatever with
Yes.
Tasca. I said, is that going to be okay? And she was like, I don't think that it's going to be an issue at all.
I didn't address it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just said it will be known when it gets known, but then
Yeah.
Tasca will be able to say, or
Yes.
in my mind, I knew through the interview process, Whitney was going to be able to say like, Joey's like a gentleman. Like
Right.
people
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not out here like
Yes.
that, bro.
Yes.
Like I got a family, and to me,
Yes.
the people don't value that stuff no more. And when you have something to lose, you
Facts.
act accordingly, and that's just what it is.
Easy
I remember
just to
when-
quit it and
Yep.
find another one and
Yep.
move on.
when I first when I met with Tasca, I told her, hey man, I like to play video games to unwind. And she said,
I can only
She said, as long as you're not out in that club, spending your time out there. And I said, are you sure you want to make this deal? I can easily commit to being right there on that TV.
all day long. Forget
No,
what
not
you
all
asked
day.
for.
I'm not gonna lie. When I met my wife, I didn't have any direction, but I also I self-reflect and realized I was one of those people who I just felt like I needed that other half of me before I could attack the world right, because like I also like I got insecurities.
Say it
and
again.
stuff, too.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Bring it back
Get it.
one
What's
more
what's
time.
the right one? What's the right one? Sammy, you gotta watch. There you go. Okay.
Let me
like it.
rewind that one more time for those in the
You can't
back.
hear that, but we can.
I heard it. I heard the applause. I felt like in order to attack, I have insecurities. I need to confide in somebody like that. Now, given I got best male friends, but males don't communicate in that way. I don't get that
not the
that
same way.
value from them and going, hey man, I'm scared about something.
Yeah.
You know, can
Yeah.
you understand what that is? Nah, but I've always got that from female energy, and so
Right.
in my life, that's why you're not gonna put me in college for 4 years. You're not gonna put me in a cubicle. I'll struggle my whole life before I submit to that. That's just not gonna be me. What I do know though is once I get that other half and I feel whole, I'm gonna take off like a rocket. And literally, we got married. It's going on 7 years now. We've been together for 12.
When you guys met each other, it was just instant, like it just clicked.
I did. I mean,
And you guys, I feel like coming from Tasca's point of view, like you guys came and found each other at the perfect time. Like it was necessary.
I think so. I mean, I think I was getting old enough in my life. My father already had 4 children before he met my mom, 2 baby mamas already before my mom came into the picture. And so I'm one of 6 with 3 baby mamas. And I knew as older you get, my dating pool was eventually going to have a child that comes in the picture too. But I'm kind of already prepared for that. Right. You know what I mean?
Right,
So
you already knew.
Right.
I know what needs to happen.
Right.
So that comes into my decision factor. And Tasca, rightfully so, didn't just, she told me about Javon. Of course I knew. She worked at the gas station up the block. So she was my just gas station clerk for a year to almost 2 years before I had the the guts to say, yo,
Yo.
I caught her one night. I don't know what I was on, some super like full of myself. She was leaving work, and I was stopping to get, like, at the time I smoked cigarettes. So I was like getting cigarettes and a Frappuccino or something like that. And she was walking out the door while I was getting that. I was like, hey, how you doing? And she was like, oh, nothing, getting off work. And I could feel her aura was open. Now, you know Tasca's resting face.
She's like,
her resting face is...
shut up. She is got it.
If I don't want to talk to you...
You don't just come up and talk to Tasca.
The RBF is strong.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's gorgeous, but it's hard. You think I'm hard?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But she has good reason. She has lots of good reasons to be in that.
And so it was down that day, and that's when I started talking to her. And literally, before I went in, I was talking to her, and maybe, you know, we're approaching 3 to 5 minutes, and I still have her attention outside her work. You know she want to go home.
Right.
You know she want to go home.
Right.
And so I said, hey,
let
me run in here and grab these cigarettes and stuff like this.
Well, be right back.
Come right back. You ain't going to go nowhere. And then I came back out, and we exchanged numbers.
Yeah.
And then, I ain't going to lie. Oh, am I remembering right? Is that when she sent me, babe, you got... She hit me with
Did you see
CD.
the permission?
She hit me with a CD with the mix vibes, and I was just getting into R&B.
That's all we used to do was make mixtape CDs together in the
I was just getting
basement.
into R&B. I had never been
I
R&B
know.
brother.
She put me on.
What are you on?
I mean, I'm
What, rap?
I'm kind of hood, like I
Hood shit.
dope
Chicago
dealing,
shit.
drug gang banging, drug dealing. Like that's my shit. I grew up in like,
That's
you know,
all
like
Tasca
Chi-town,
listens
like,
to
I
is
didn't grow up in
R&B.
Chi-town, but like that Chicago attitude filters down
It's a
to
little bit different. I feel
to
you.
where I'm from. I'm from Iowa, and Chicago's 4 hours away. So when you get old enough, you go, I'm going to
Chicago
to
to
the
go
big
out.
city and shit like that. And then you find out you need a lot of money.
Yeah.
Big shit like that. But when you don't, you have to live by the bad element, and you have to
Chicago's tough.
know how to
Yeah.
make a dollar out of something and protect yourself,
Yes.
even if you like things like Star Wars.
Right.
You got to be able to walk a
Yes.
little harder and stuff like that.
Yes.
But then, about the time I met Tasca, shoot, Drake popping off at this time,
Yeah.
starting to usher us
Like,
in.
it's cool to cry.
Right, I was like, I'm jamming, and I'm looking at my brother, and I'm going, why are we doing this?
I know Tasca put you on because she put me on the old school
She put me
R&B.
on a couple, and then
It was over.
Within like a week, I was like, "Yo, would you like to maybe have dinner with a player?"
Okay, so let's backtrack on what we learned here, right, ladies. Get back into that mixtape vibe, okay?
Man, because I knew what time it was. I said,
Show that. Hey, but you know, I asked Whitney the other day. I said, "Do you remember?" I said, "Were you?" Because you know, Whitney, I got 7 years on you too. So I said, "I don't know if you're with this or not." I said, "But do you remember doing this, like the phone?"
Yes.
Leave a message
on
after
the
the beep.
on the
You're
boombox
like this. You're like
or
this.
whatever.
Like you waiting for them to
Or
say
waiting
hello.
for them to say
And then
something.
you're like-
You just want to hear them.
And you play the music.
I still do that to people now. Music is a whole love language. I don't
is.
care.
Oh,
it's
it
beautiful.
is.
Yes.
It's why I got into the music videos first for this thing, is because first of all, my younger brother, he decided to rap, but we coming out the 90s trying to rap and stuff like that. And I realized he was better than me, and so I said, you need somebody behind the scenes,
Right.
a Puffy to your Biggie.
Yes.
Let me see your manager.
And then that's around the MySpace area.
All up in the video.
All up in the video. Yo, if listen to what I'm about to tell you. So I learned how to like barely start editing, and I made a video for us, and then that's when I said, hey man, I can do this wherever we go.
Yeah.
If we could do this in this little town here, we could do this wherever the hell we want to go. And then that's when we tried it. And then when I got out here, I really tried it. And literally, I knew no one in the streets. I didn't even get on social media because I was always worried. Like before I met my wife, I was a womanizer. I guess that would be the best. I mean, I just dated frivolously, like, and so I was always worried with social media when it was starting.
Understand what a
Which is-
womanizer
this is that-
is. It's like different, a little bit different from a player. But you like actually
Right.
woo women. Like it's
But I
more
would
of a
say-
nice flow.
I would say at that point, do you feel like you were aware that you were a womanizer? Because a lot of it is top behavior, and a lot of it comes from your past.
This goes back to the music.
Yeah.
So when I was in 7th grade, Doggy Style came out.
Right. No, facts. That's what's being flooded into y'all's ears.
This is what I had to tell this is when I said I was worried about my son.
Yeah.
Is I didn't realize how that screwed up my mentality about love
Too soon.
before I got there. The value of ladies on that album was dropped.
Very low.
Oh, he got hit so hard too. You remember that era of
Yeah.
Snoop getting hit by the government?
I mean, well,
Yeah.
they would do that, but I didn't. I guess there were probably voices that were being silenced at that time, trying to say, no, this is the reason you were going to desensitize love to males,
Right.
and that's going to
Dang.
screw up the family
Yeah,
dynamic,
right. Yeah.
right? And so I didn't realize that at the time, but I knew I was like, this lifestyle don't sustain,
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's
And
not
in order
lasting.
to earn that companionship in our final years,
Yeah.
you gotta commit and earn it
Now.
in this part of your life, right?
yeah.
And so by the time, like I said, when I'm looking for a mate, I went, whoa, first of all, you fine, right? And then on top of that, you working with the public. This boss made you the manager of the store, so you got some sort
Right.
of competence on you. I meet your parents, you come from good stock, and your boy is a mixed boy just like me. So like I know how to relate to him. And then we walked through Best Buy one time with him, and he walked up to some laptops and was already turning up the volume
I'm done.
and hitting stuff. And I said, "That's my
son.
yo,
That's my son.
yo."
I love
Like
that.
I can relate to him. You like video games, you like ones and zeros. I was a nerdy kid,
Yeah.
but I grew up and had to like pretend I was
be
tough.
hard.
You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean? Like, and so that made me go, oh, okay.
That's what I mean. Y'all met at the perfect time.
That's sweet.
Yeah, and then he wasn't working, so I was just like,
Yep.
yo, if he don't find value in you,
I will.
I will. Even with
Facts.
this boy. If
Yes.
this boy is nice, I want him too.
Watch out.
Bring him too.
Watch out.
So I love that you brought it back because
Yeah.
I think that speaks to the values of like how men operate. It don't take forever. It don't
No.
take, a whole lot of time for a man to like see someone and be like, you know what?
You're
You.
in.
When you realize that, and that's what I said, to me, it was the key going, if she likes me,
Right.
I ain't never had nobody this dope like me.
I like you too.
I've looked.
Yes.
So I know if I treat this one as low value as Snoop Dogg taught me back in the day, this is just going to be another
lose it.
one in the ring of things. And will you make another one this
Wisdom.
bad?
Okay,
Yeah, for
so that's
real.
the difference
Nuggets.
between a grown ass man and a
Yes.
little boy. Okay,
Okay.
I'm just gonna say that,
Yes.
and I'm gonna say that very comfortably because these men that are out here in these relationships
Yep.
that I hear about them, these boys are moving like boys, and that's why I say that. I'm not even gonna say men because
Yes.
they're boys.
Yeah.
Like they're
Yes.
not.
But why are they boys though? Because and why are they moving like this?
Yes.
Because they're a boy. And what are boys? Insecure.
Yes.
And that's what I was. I was like, I have to fill this void by like I can get ladies.
Well, but it
I can get
helped
ladies
you
and-
finding somebody that was comfortable with working with you while you were growing.
True. Well, I think she saw me, and I had to give it. I had
Right.
to.
She wouldn't have
learned to cut it
you
all off.
had to give her your all. I know
And
how
I knew,
she moves.
yeah, there was. She'll know. She'll know
She'll
right
shut it
away.
down.
She know idiot. You know what I mean? And I can't do that to her.
Right.
Well, I loved a few things that you said in this too. Is that there's no way that I can remember this quote. It's just one that I love. But it talks about the union of and the power behind a man and a woman collabing
Yes.
together
Yes.
and what can happen and building empires
Yes.
Yes.
and really finding that person that you're
Yeah.
like, look, we could do big
do
things
this.
together.
Yeah, yeah.
Once I take away that worry that
Right.
I don't have to search for it no more,
Yes.
and I ain't got to worry about you be like, I see the loyalty and
Yes.
stuff like that. Boom. Now I can take that part that ruled so much of my insecure brain and took up so much
and
mind.
focus on building.
Right now I have so much more room to put that in there with
love
other
that.
stuff. Grow, so like to me, I at least hit that spot, and luckily I hit that mature spot before I met my wife, and so that was
Lovely.
Right.
I mean, you even had to see or know that like a woman is valuable.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many men out here that are jaded that think I
Yes.
don't need a woman, or the question, what do you bring to the table?
Right.
That
Yes. Oh, I hate that shit.
so low value. Like if you don't know,
What are you bringing to the table?
Well, this is a good time to bring up exactly the little thing that you saw
Yes.
on
what was it? Was it Instagram or what was that? That little, the conversation that the gentleman had that basically said like, if you already got this together, then
I can't remember the podcast. I'm gonna have to look it up. But he basically was talking specifically about like, if I meet a woman that's financially capable of taking care of her own self, then she's basically no good to me. Like if you've already got the table set, how can I find space for me to sit at that table with you if you're providing everything on you bringing the plates, the forks, the cups, all the food, you're providing it all.
So what do you feel about that?
And he pissed me
insecure.
off.
Okay.
It pissed me off. I get both sides.
Agreed.
I get a man wanting, or a significant other
I agree with you now.
wanting to have.
I know there used to be a time where that train of thought.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't want to use the word necessary.
Right.
But in evolution, things evolve
Yes,
over time, right?
yes.
And so now I think it's the time to where that's more of a control. Like
Yes.
if she need me, I don't have to worry about her
Going out and doing something
right?
else. And that's
or
what
somebody else.
But that's such a level of
It
weak-minded
is.
thought process. Like, why can't you feel like you guys can both meet in the middle? Because I'm all about paying for the date.
that's
But I think that was
so.
before men were evolved. So if you
Right.
meet a man who's thinking like this or talking like this on a
Right.
platform, now it's time to go. Okay, now your line of thought is antiquated.
Right.
Right.
Ooh,
That'd
or it's
have
really
been cool.
old school. Like,
Yeah,
what?
that would have been cool back then. But sir, that's fine if that's the way
Right.
you feel. You have just limited your dating pool to this much.
Correct.
Say you're no longer for me.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So many girls are gonna
Yeah,
go.
well,
Well,
and
and
don't
don't
just
get
say
me
it, vice
wrong,
versa.
because
Yeah.
in the
Okay, bye.
beginning, I was okay with being a housewife. Like, my intention when I got married was to be a housewife and have babies. That's all I wanted to do. Makeup was always in the background, but it was never like, my focus was to be a mom because I was raised from a broken home and I wanted to see that. Like, I wanted to do
The other
it
side of the
different.
fence.
I want to
Right.
break the chains, the cycle.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen. It didn't happen at all the way I expected it to.
Yeah, that's hard.
But you have to just keep going through the motions. Like, but that thought process of not being able to like give to somebody, I get it. Men want to be needed just as much as women want to be needed, and vice versa.
True, but to think that you can't help a woman level up or
Right.
bring anything to enhance her life, that says more about you than it does about her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have to say that I think
weird.
being on
Hello.
this.
I thought
Sorry.
it was weird.
Hello, weird.
Yes.
Yo, I'm still thinking about whoever said this, and
She's
I'm
got
just
it.
like,
She's got it.
I
She's
have
gotta
it
remember
saved on
it.
my
Yeah.
Facebook.
No, you ain't gotta-
but the
no.
guys, it's an all male podcast, and all the guys around him were like, "You're about to be the most hated man right now on the internet for today."
y'all
Because,
learn how to talk.
But I will have to
but
say,
if you're raised real biblical and from back in the day, women were
But I think that I think that thinking is dated. I think it was
yes.
maybe good then, but we're talking
Right.
about
We're in
we
a
live in
different-
2022,
yes.
so it's like information is everywhere for anything.
Right.
And why would I've had enough examples where I see there's not been this quote unquote man shackle on his
Right.
lady, and watch what the information. Now two people get to
right.
devour information and bring it back to
Yes,
the table.
if they
and
look
build
at it
off
like that, if they say, "Look, we are a team. We are not competing."
Yes.
Oh, we have to
Yes.
build
Like,
something. Otherwise, that's why I
together.
said. And every time,
And this is what so many of us are doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like we have to for
and
some
it ain't
reason
even got to
or
be
another.
financial.
Yeah.
It can like when you said empire earlier, like we could build an empire. To some people, like a business might not even be their empire.
Right.
Just a,
It could be a strong
stable
family.
little
Yes.
something
Yes. Stability.
is that empire.
Yes.
Or breaking the
Empire.
chain
That's
might be
Yes.
their
Yes.
empire
Yes.
or
Yes.
something like that. And that's what I think. Once somebody understands, you can just, the amount of stuff you can build.
go,
and so
yeah.
every
Have
time,
space.
me and my wife been together 12 years, been married going on 7 now. No, it's 7. It's 2015, and we're in 22. Yeah, so, in June, it'll be 7. Every time someone breaks up and we see it on social media, I look at her and go, we beat another one.
Yeah.
Boom!
one bites
I
the
love
dust.
that celebration.
We beat
I
another
love it.
one.
There you go.
We stronger than them. You don't think we don't fight? You don't think we don't want
Right.
And
But
we do, and even just not even on TV, like celebrity wise, like we look at our past friendships,
Friends,
Yes.
yeah.
and we're like, dang, there goes
Yep.
another one. And it's scary at the same time because the relationship marriage is like it's now like a 60-40 chance of making
it's like
it.
if you looked at the statistics, you would go, "Why would I try this?
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
inevitably
Yeah, right.
going to end in this." And my parents were together. her parents were together. They're still together. My parents, I said,
Yeah.
R.I.P. Dad. But I'm just saying, like, until then, like, our parents were together, so we knew what that is, and I still value that, and sometimes I hope she feels the same way. It's like, yo, if we were never to work, or we say kaputs on this, is there a chance for that out there? I don't know. The digital age has taken off since we gotten together. I don't know if anyone holds
I
those
tell
values.
them all the time. I see what happens behind the scenes with like these single women and men, and I'm like, ugh, like just like I do not envy
Could
you.
I trust it?
On
No,
the top
I
of it
can't.
being dangerous, take the danger out of it. The willingness to have to completely learn somebody all over again at such an older
starting
age,
over.
for it to potentially not work at the average that you're thinking. Like, that's the first thing I
Right.
thought about after the second divorce was, would I ever consider getting married again? It would have to take a lot, because I don't want to do this in my 70s. My 70s?
Yeah, it's too stressful.
That's insane. That should be when I'm like
My mom-
trying to heal if I'm sick or something else is
a
going
hip or
on. Like,
something.
All right,
I
trying to
can't
get this
make
retirement set.
My mom and my dad didn't get a divorce. My dad passed away at age 53,
Me too,
but they
yeah.
were married for 28 years.
Yeah, my parents, so they met. My dad's 12 years older than my mom. They met when my mom was 18. But that was, back in the day. They had me. And then I lived like my dad was a Rolling Stone. Like he had my oldest sister Marlo with one lady, and then they split up, and then he went and had my oldest sister Ollie with another lady, and then they split up, and he went back to her and had my older brother Frank, and then came back here and had my older sister Amber. And then he met my mom and had me and my younger brother Danny.
right.
And like I saw it once. I was like, hey, it sounds like you weren't ready while you were making these. And when you go back and you go, what did those people have to do to entertain themselves but drive in a car or make love?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So of course some babies is gonna come about this, right? But when my dad saw my mom, he said, hey, that's it. This is it. I want this life, and I want I want my other kids to feel free to come to my home now that I'm settled and stuff like that. And so I think I saw that in Tasca. Her dad was in the military, met her mom over in Guam, I think it was. She's Filipino. She's from the Philippines. They just moved back to retire. And so they've been together, and they created an empire.
They did.
And now they done. And so I think that helps us. And then I
And
think
they're so
about
polar opposites. It's so
I
cute.
think about my boys too.
Yeah.
Like, I want you to have this same example for you, man.
Yeah.
Once again, bring it around to my son. I don't want you to look, these little babies, these little gunners. They're gonna talk about all these women. They flip this way, they flip this way, and how they play and they got money and they could buy Birkins because they don't mean nothing. I told him later in life I had relationships where I felt like that idea of women's worth not being nothing, they ain't nothing but this and that will screw you up when you get one you like, and then they go, you're not treating me good, and you're
I'm
wondering
out,
why they ain't with you no
Right.
more. Like, why they ain't messing with you? Because unconsciously you gave them that vibe that they don't mean nothing to you, and they saw it fast and said, hey, I'm not gonna hitch up to him. And now you as a dumb male is going, why? I'm big on self-evaluation, and when I'm by myself, I think about my thoughts a lot. And so I realized that, and I said, oh shit, we can't have once I learned that mistake. So
I
here's
think this
my wife.
is such a good representation of who this man is, and like what he kind of is, about. And so I a big portion of this podcast was to make sure that we introduce Joey properly and make sure that like the women that are coming into the suite understand that, like, look, and then you just like laid it all out in the sense that, like, I think if that gives anybody an understanding of like
Put some respect on his name.
Thank you.
100%.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I think this is definitely a conversation that if anyone was feeling maybe intimidated about having a man in there shooting, hopefully after maybe hearing some of this, you can go, he does not care about me. Like he wants me to leave.
He's worried
with
about this. Like,
he cares about your
Well,
art.
and I can speak from experience that he was 100% professional. He was 100%
There you go.
like
Co-sign me.
he
Co-sign
was-
me with.
he was he
Co-sign
was
me.
amazing. His rapport, the way he communicated, he never made me feel uncomfortable before he even got into my space. He was just like, he asked first. So that there is nothing but a level of respect and quality that you're going to get from this, because the quality of the video that I've seen after he put in all the work was amazing. I felt like he captured my personality. I feel like he captured, all of the things that make me who I am. So you will get a wonderful experience from Joe.
Leah set that standard. I heard her say she wanted a safe space, or I heard interview footage of a safe space, and I said that's super important to these girls in this scenario, that is safe. And I was like, and Danny, you be in there. And he told me, he's like, you can tell the girls are, like you said, tight, and by the end they get relaxed. And I said, that's probably nerve wracking for them. And I don't want them to look nervous. The reason I put the videos together enough where you go, oh, I felt like he got me, is because of the time I spent with you and the amount of time I see that footage. I get to know somebody real quick.
Yeah. And that was huge for me, because when he played Whitney's video on the screen here, and the very first clip was of her laughing.
It was.
I was like, oh, he got her. Yeah. Like he got her. Like he just understood her personality. That was at the forefront of the video, and he knew that when Whitney gets nervous, she laughs. Yes. And so he put that because this was part of her personality, and I just loved that. Yeah. That piece for me was so important. Yeah. Because it made it personal. It wasn't about like, 'cause she looked sexy as hell. She was in some really sexy outfits, but it made it so personal.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And how healing is it as like a woman to feel nervous and to be seen by a man and be made to look beautiful, but also being completely safe. And knowing that, you're in this container and nothing's going to happen and you're good. And
we don't want no one to see you. We're here to show you how people behind lenses see some things sometimes. And so it's like,
period.
You add that self-esteem that they get with it. Like, that's what we're here to do. When I got into doing videos, people would go, what if I don't like the edit? Trust me, I'm here to make you look the best you can possibly look. I am here for that.
I often say that. I say, do you trust me? Like you obviously came to me because there's a reason that you came to me. So I'm going to ask you, do you trust me? Because they'll get real like, well, what about this? Why? Like you came to me. Do you trust me? Then just let it flow. Yeah.
So we were just talking about that shoot with Leah Flores and with Joe. Book your shoot now, ladies. Get your experience.
This summer is going to go crazy.
This summer. And we've just been waiting. We've been on hold for this man because, he's a family man. He's got a family element.
I got the luxury of taking care of my 5-year-old, which we'll get into next episode. I get the luxury of taking care of him after preschool and then working from home that way. But when my oldest gets done with school here in May, we have that in-home babysitter, and we about to rip it up.
Yes.
Like we about to shoot.
And I can't wait. The nights are longer. The light is out longer. It's warm outside. We get to do indoor, outdoor sessions.
Do outside yet? You wait till we go outside.
We outside.
I cannot wait to snap with you.
So much fun. So Joe, how do they reach you on Joey? How do they reach you on the other spectrum? So like if somebody was interested in doing a professional video, or they wanted to do a rap video, or they wanted to do real estate, right?
It's always real estate. Just find me on social medias. That's Joey Sparks. That's 2 E's, no Y. That's 2 E's. You should know why.
Bars.
On Instagram, you add a number 7 at the end of that. I mean, I'm sure you'll have me linked down.
Yes, we will make sure that we link to
It's Joey Sparks on all platforms. There's nobody with the name.
You guys
Joey
will be able to
Sparks.
see like kind of his personality and what he does. He's just recently started up, and I don't know if it's recent or not, but it's recent to me to see like the little tidbits that you're doing on your shows and
yes, please. While I'm talking about it, if you like YouTube, I am big on cinema, and we didn't get into that as much.
We were everybody has a part 2.
Yes.
Right.
We are for sure by now that we know everybody has a part 2.
Yes.
But like, I love movies and I love discussing movies, and I am in the process of creating a community that we can discuss the popular, like I love Marvel, I love Star Wars, I love fanboy things, dope. Like I love all that. And so my new YouTube channel that I started is called Old Head Reviews.
Yes.
That is Old Head Reviews.
You are serious about this old thing.
Well, I'm embraced it. I mean, like
said,
I don't dress
well.
that. Like, look at me. Like I'm like trying to
look
stay
young.
young,
You
right?
look young.
But like I embrace the fact that wisdom comes with being
Yes.
old, and so
Yes.
and
I
you
know I try to cover up these grays, but they mean something.
Yeah, like I love
earned
to be wise. So Old Head Reviews, if you want any music videos of the local music scene, I work pretty heavily with that. You can check that on my other YouTube channel. That is Joey Sparks, of course. And those are the two things that I'm working really heavily right now. If you're in town and you want to get work from me, you can email me at joeysparks@gmail.com. That is just like it says, Joey Sparks.
Hey, one of the
Yes.
first questions you remember he asked me was, Leah, if you were to pick any type of like Marvel character, who would
Yeah.
you be? Was that or just
Yes.
a
Dana.
superhero? Superhero.
Oh,
And I was like, what kind of question is
I don't
that?
know if that would be me, but I do enjoy the superhero movies.
You guys check him out on all of his
Yes.
platforms.
Please.
That gives you guys the opportunity to really see who he's about. Feel more comfortable. This is the
Yes.
whole point in these conversations. This is the whole point in this podcast, is to have conversations that really open up things that we may not be comfortable talking about, discussing,
Yes.
Very fluidly, openly, authentically.
Yes,
Real raw.
shit.
There you go.
Real.
There you go.
Yes.
Branded.
Yes.
Yes.
And so definitely check them out. You guys, thank you
Thank you.
for
Yes,
being with
thank
me
you.
as
Of course.
always.
Of
Yeah,
course.
thank you
Our
for the
pleasure.
hospitality.
Yeah. Yes. So until next time.
What?
Here we go. Here we go. We about to jam out. Can you hear it? Can you hear it? Hey.
What? What?
face.
Between the
Hit the
sheets, what? What? Between the sheets, what? What? What?
Well, yo,
Between the
you need to
sheets,
get your
what?
album off.
What? Between the sheets, what?
Yeah.
Yo, good stuff, y'all.